Hey peeps, we are back. We are talking what would the peeps do / am I an ass? And this is entitled Solo Flight. Hey, before we get into the video, please do me the honors of subscribing to my channel, hitting the notification bell so you can always be notified when I post new content, hitting the thumbs up because that does wonders for my channel, and share. Thanks. Okay, so this guy is asking, is he an ass for boarding the plane and leaving his wife at the airport? All right, so the guy is 47 years old, and he starts off by giving us a little bit of a backstory as to, what happened, what's going on with his wife. He states that traveling with her is never a good experience. He says that he's the very type A kind of person and he likes to have things organized. He likes to be to the airport early, especially because, you never know what's going to happen at the airport. He says that his wife is the total opposite. She's a very go with the flow kind of person. We'll get there when we get there. He then goes on to say that he does his very best to try to meet people in the middle, especially when they're traveling. So he says that, he will hold the person's passport, he will have the plane tickets, he's doing the best he can trying to help out. He says that he has a 21-year-old daughter from a previous marriage, but his current wife, who is 43, has been helping him raise her since she was 6 years old. Unfortunately, her biological mom passed away. His daughter is now attending college in a different state, and last year when they went to visit her, he told his wife they needed to be at the airport 90 minutes early on the day of the flight. He got up early to make sure that everything was packed and everything was accounted for while his wife was still asleep. He says, it took me attempting to wake her up 5 times before she eventually got up. She then wanted to make coffee, shower, eat a bowl of cereal. The airport ended up being a lot busier than it normally is, so it took us a long time to get through security, so they ended up missing their flight. Rightfully so, he says, the airport refused to refund the tickets, so they ended up having to buy new tickets and they actually could not fly out until the next day. He says that his daughter was extremely disappointed by them not being able to make it the day before. She was really excited and looking forward to seeing them. He says, fast forward to now, his daughter is currently moving out of her college dorm and into her own apartment. On the day of the flight, he says he knew it was going to be another long morning, so he was pushing his wife to get ready to leave. Due to the last airport mishap, he wanted to make sure that they got there with all the extra time they needed so that they did not miss their flight again. However, when they got to the airport early, his wife was annoyed. She kept going off on him, talking about how now they have to sit there for an additional 45 minutes before boarding. She sounds like somebody I would tell off real quick. Anyway, he says, we took our first flight and landed in our connecting city at a much larger airport. We only had about an hour layover. We had multiple rails to go through before we landed in our terminal. We got to our terminal and had about 15 minutes before our plane was set to board. It was then that his wife told him she wanted to go for coffee. There's a little market in the next terminal that sold hot dogs and coffee. I asked her if she wanted me to go there and grab something really quickly. She said no, she wanted Starbucks. And I said that Starbucks was a rail ride away and a little bit of a walk. He told her that she didn't have enough time to go over to Starbucks and, get back on time for boarding. She tells him that there's plenty of time, and if he wouldn't go get the coffee for her, she would go herself. He says that he tried to discourage her, but she was very determined. She walked away at a brisk pace. He says 15 minutes later, his wife is still not back and the airline has started boarding groups. That he called his wife hoping that she would be nearby, but she didn't answer. They called a few groups. Then they ended up calling their group. In a panic, he said he called his wife 3 times, and the last time she actually answered, and she said she was on her way back. He says, I told her they were almost done boarding and she needed to hurry up. So he waited by the gate until the attendant informed him that they were shutting the doors in 2 minutes. He says, I waited and I waited, but she didn't show up. The attendant asked if I wanted to board, otherwise she was going to close the gates. He said that he begged and pleaded with her and tried to get her to wait a few more minutes, but she was insistent that she could not do that. So he had to board the plane. A few minutes later, his wife showed up at the gate. She calls him and tells him that they won't let her board. They have already removed the boarding ramp. She then tells him that she needs him to get off the plane so that he could be with her, and he said, no, it's not fair for you to do this to our daughter again. He then tells her, I told you that you didn't have enough time and you decided to go anyway. He told her that she needed to go somewhere and buy another ticket and take the next flight, and he would see her when she arrived. He says when she finally arrived, she seemed unbothered and didn't acknowledge the situation. He thought that maybe she realized that it was her own fault and just wanted to drop it. He says that he was absolutely wrong because as soon as they got back home, she stopped talking to him altogether and has not spoken to him for over a week and insists that it is him that is an ass. And he wants to know, is he an ass? Hell to the no. Okay, he is absolutely not an ass. I personally think that his wife is childish as hell. I think that she could have got the coffee from the nearby coffee shop, or she could have just waited. I think that he needs to stop fooling with his wife. I think that he needs to tell her up front, listen, either you are going to leave the house with me when I'm ready to go to get to the airport to get on this plane, or you can fly and do your own thing yourself. I think that you're selfish. I think that you're rude. You are extremely inconsiderate. The world does not revolve around you, woman. And if he would have gotten off the plane, that would have delayed the passengers. If they would have held the door until she got there, that would also delay the passengers. That's not okay. She is acting entitled. I would also be concerned, is she doing this because he's going to see his daughter? I mean, I don't want to say that there's something wrong in their relationship, but it's something that I would think about. Do you do this every time that they go somewhere, or is it only on the trips when they're going to see his daughter? I would also tell her that you are not responsible for her time management. You are not responsible to pack everything, carry all the passports, carry all the tickets, wake her up 5 times, make sure that she's got coffee, push her out the door. She is a grown up and it's time to start acting like it. At the age of 43, you know better, okay? It's one thing to be a husband. It's another thing to have to be a caretaker to a partner who just doesn't give a damn. I don't know, peeps. Get down in the comments and let me know, what do you think? I do not think he's an ass. I think his wife is a selfish ass. And, you know, she deserved to have to fly on her own by herself, giving somebody the silent treatment. Grown woman. I don't think so. Anyway, get down in the comments, you guys. Let me know what you think. And until next time, bye.